Hi you guys, happy Friday and welcome back to my channel. Today's episode I wanted to talk about two things. Number one, Chief General Rutani Mapanywe, who went to Iran in an unauthorized trip. And I also wanted to talk about the Ehailing services and the issue that happened in Maponya Mall yesterday. The chief of the South African National Defence Force, which is the Sandf, Rutani Mapanywe, went to Iran, took a trip that is unauthorized to Iran, and when he arrived there, he publicly expressed that they have complete political solidarity to Iran. Obviously, this has raised eyebrows because even the Iran government was shocked that, okay, South Africa is supporting us, but what about their foreign policies? Because their foreign policies do not really allow this whole thing to happen. And the reason why this is happening between South Africa and Iran is because of the Iran and Israel war. So if you guys don't know, I made a video, I think months ago or weeks ago, about the Iran and Israel war. And to those who are interested, I'll put the video on my description box below, where I explain the proper background as to what is going on between these two countries. But there's that war between these two countries, and it involves nuclear weapons. So obviously the USA is involved in that war and has taken obviously the side of Israel and supports Israel when it comes to this war, and has even threatened Iran of nuclear weapons, of sanctions. You know how they are. But they've been trying to negotiate the terms and how this war would not happen, because the US also says that there would be war if they continue like this. So how does South Africa feature in this? So South Africa has a really good relation with Iran, to the point that Iran supported South Africa during the apartheid era. They've even assisted South Africa to have new refineries. They even provide oil. They import oil. The relationship between South Africa is mostly like that with the Iran. So they have good diplomatic relations. However, with the recent tensions between South Africa and the USA, it makes sense why South Africa chooses to take a neutral stance. So we know how cowardly our president is and our government, that they've decided to take a neutral stance instead of taking a certain side. Because when they took the Palestine side, they didn't have good relations with the US. Hence, there's these current problems that we have with the United States of America, the tariffs, everything that has happened with South Africa and US. So they've decided to say that, you know what, Iran and US, please think of a dialogue, a situation where you have a dialogue and the mediator becomes the US, so that, you know, they don't find themselves having to take any sides. Same situation what is going on between the Ukraine as well as Russia. So now we see that happening as more frequent. So that's why South Africa is not really happy about the general going to Iran in an unauthorized trip. It has also been reported that the Department of International Relations and Incorporations, as well as the Minister of Defense, are not even aware of this trip. We're not even told about this trip. So I want to play the video of the ANC spokesperson and what he said with regards to this unauthorized trip.
With respect to General Mapanywe's visit to Iran, the South African Defence Force is by bilateral and multilateral frameworks to forge ties with other military forces around the world. The exchange of knowledge and the strengthening of professional military-to-military cooperation is encouraged within our government system. This includes joint training drills with other countries, cooperation on peacekeeping, as well as rescue missions during natural disasters. However, senior military officers outside of their military purview, nor do they represent the country on foreign policy matters, and neither they delegated to perform such.
So clearly, it's very clear from the precedent that has been set by the president with regards to the DA minister, that if you're going to defy the president's instruction, you're going to find yourself in a situation whereby you get to be dismissed from your work. So people are calling for his removal as a general, especially for a defense force. He should know better. He should know international relations between South Africa and other states, as well as foreign policies of the country. So it's very concerning that he did that and he's not even concerned about his actions, not even apologizing or anything of that kind. So I definitely think that high chances he might be fired, especially with the growing tensions from the ground. People are also calling for his removal, that no, you don't do that. He should be removed as the general of the South African Defence Force. I don't know what you guys think. Do you think that he should be removed, or he was just acting out of concern and out of love for Iran? Maybe he doesn't know now that there's been this neutral stance that South Africa is taking. I don't know what you guys think. Please comment your thoughts. Otherwise, let us move right along to Ehailing. So before we can start with this story, I just wanted us to take a small moment of silence for the man that was bent in his car. He was only trying to make a living. So in South Africa, we know that e-hailing has always been attacked from its inception by the taxi industry. And we know how brutal the taxi industry is. And the taxi industry is not only brutal to e-hailers, it's also brutal to its passengers. You know, taxi drivers can easily make you angry and ruin your day. And now they're gunning for e-hailers, and the e-hailers have not really accepted this very kindly, because they've been subject to violation, intimidation. They block certain routes for them. They can't even enter malls and collect people from there. They've been vandalized, they've been shot at, they've been abducted, they've been attacked. There's all sorts of things that have happened, and they've expressed concern, obviously, that we are not being treated well. We're also trying to make a living. And this bullying by the taxi industry does not only happen to Bolt and Uber drivers, it also happens to trains. I've even used to hear rumors and arguments, allegedly, that they'll ruin and vandalize the railways so that the trains don't come back. But the government has been working so hard to bring back trains because they're at least not that expensive. So taxi drivers want everything for themselves. They don't want to share the routes. They feel like, you know what, these people are a threat. They even tell them to do this, don't do that. They're making this thing of e-hailing hard, not just for the driver, even for us, because you find that you have to, for example, if you're staying in Johannesburg, in Gautrain station by Johannesburg, like CBD, you have to move way far from Gautrain station after getting off the Gautrain, and request so that the driver can fetch you far. Dropping, they don't have a problem with drop-offs, but they have every problem with pickups. But if there are mini taxis there that can pick up, and they pick you up at around 200 rand just for you to just go to the corner, whereas e-hailing is more affordable. They say that some of the arguments that are made by the taxi industry is that they are taking their clients. Which clients are they taking? Because e-hailing, to a certain degree, can be very expensive than a taxi. For example, I can travel from here, from Joburg to the East Rand with only 25 rands. But if I'm going to use e-hailing, I'm going to pay around about 200 rands to travel from Johannesburg to the East Rand. So it's not cheap in that way. But people still choose e-hailing because of the convenience of it that comes with it. And then taxi drivers are going to come and say that they're stealing their clients. On what basis? So the government has reacted, as well as the Santaco, which is the organization that represents taxi drivers.
And I wanted to also say condolences to the families of those members that were affected by being shot or being burned in the cars yesterday. But from the Santaco level, we are saying we condemn taxi violence. I think from the onset, I've said it, that we are going to fight on this thing. And so 2001, Santaco was formed, and main agenda formed by government was to address the very same taxi-related violence and the killings.
Santaco has made claims that they've been unfairly blamed, and that they want the urgent implementation of the National Lands Transport Amendment Bill, which regulates the e-hailing. Very alarming. I wanted us to read the comment, or the letter, the statement that has been released by the Minister of Transport, and also play the video of the MEC of Transport in Gauteng, especially in the Maponya area of Pimville. So let me just first read the statement from the minister. So the minister says, The Minister of Transport, Ms. Barbara Tracy, and Deputy Minister, Mr. Mkhuleko Hlengwa, strongly condemned the acts of violence and criminality that resulted in the tragic unaliving of an e-hailer driver at Maponya Mall in Soweto on Wednesday, 12 August 2025. They also expressed their message of condolences to the bereaved families who lost their loved ones. Further indicated that such criminal behavior is no place in the public transport sector, that those responsible must face the full might of the law. Collaboration between the government and taxi industry, the National Department of Transport is addressing the entirety of the challenge of affecting the public transport system. Central to the issues addressed in the persistent violence across the system, in a meeting held 25 April 2025, Minister Creasy and the taxi industry leadership anonymously now denounced violence in the industry. This meeting also agreed on the formation of a task team between the National and Gauteng Provincial Department of Transport to fast-track the process of digitalization of the issuing of operation license to resolve route encroachments in the taxi industry, which is the main cause of taxi violence. The taxi industry leadership was also requested to reflect on this matter and make tangible proposals to government on the way forward. The National Department of Transport is also currently implementing the National Land Transport Information System, which will, amongst other, ensure that the operation licenses are linked to the e-NATIS to eliminate the unlawful usage of one operating license for more than one taxi vehicle. Regulation of e-hailing services, meanwhile, the National Land Transport Amendment Act and the Transport Appeal Tribunal Amendment Act were signed into law by the President on the 11th of June 2024. The regulations have been approved, now awaiting the second official language translation for gazetting implementation of the Amendment Act. This will usher in a new era in the regulation of e-hailing services. I'm not going to lie, this is nonsense. This is nonsense. This response, it's utter nonsense. I'm sorry. Why not address something that is more practical? I wish to see the bill. Maybe you guys, maybe we can make another video where we look at the law, the actual act as to what does it say. Because the e-hailers are not going to keep on complaining if the law really covers for them. What is the law saying with regards to them? This is really painful. Let me play guys the video of the MEC for transport.
Condolences to the family of a member that has passed on, and also the issues around that are a bit sketchy. We wanted to know where does he belong, which association was he representing. So the information we are getting, according to law enforcement here, since yesterday they've been looking for the family of the deceased, and the deceased was staying in a hostel nearby, just arrived in Gauteng 2 weeks ago. And the e-hailers that we met with, they confirmed that he's not part of them. So we also are still to get and verify the information, whether this was an operator or this was a driver, and if he or she was an operator, under which e-hailing app was he operating on. So we are allowing the law enforcement to investigate the matter. We are very concerned of people who are dying because of conflicts in the industry. And we have said to the law enforcement, and they have committed themselves that they'll get to the bottom of this issue. To the drawing board. I must say the former MMC of Johannesburg in 2023 tried to put together a team and a committee that includes the center management of Maponya, it includes the councillors, the taxi industry and the e-hailers in this place. And the complaint that we got from the center manager as well as the taxi industry is that from time to time the e-hailing is not consistent, faces changes, and as a result they are unable to register progress on the things that they have agreed upon. And this is demonstrated by what just happened. It means we continue to sit with different sets of e-hailers, and then we are unable to action up whatever that gets to be agreed upon.
All I can say is that all of these people don't have a solution. I don't think what is being suggested so far is a solution. Taxi industry has to be regulated. Taxis supposed to understand that we're living in the fourth industrial revolution, and that people prefer convenience more than anything, and that there are taxis that are skorokoros, that are bambelela siachiga. Those taxis are so old and they're not even willing to fix them. They should understand that we prefer a Nas Almera or whatever cars that are used on Uber instead of their taxis. They need to accept that people have a choice to choose what they want in terms of the mode of transport. Transport doesn't belong to them. Routes don't belong to them. Unless, guys, I'm wrong, I don't read this well, maybe I don't understand it. You guys comment down below, tell me what should happen. And also, are you guys interested in us looking at this law word for word? Are you guys gonna watch the video? Because I don't want to go and take that law and then we don't watch the video. If you guys want, we can read the act and find out whether really it does really, give much tangible solution that is favorable to all parties that are involved when it comes to transport. Otherwise, Barbara, this is not it. Otherwise, guys, please comment your thoughts. I will see you on my next upload. Bye.